Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I decided to make another video. Just out of frame, I'm holding up this stack of books because it's already fallen over twice and I don't want it to fall over again. No, they all fell. It's fine. Today's video is stressful for me. Recently on Instagram, I was tagged in an expose your TBR tag post thingy. And while completing the post, I realized that a lot of the books on my TBR are absolutely enormous. By the way, if you don't know what a TBR is, it's a to be read list. So books that I have the intention of reading sometime soon. I know I'm not the only one that has an absolute terror of big books. I don't know what it is, but I suffer from DNF syndrome. I made that up. This video is just full of acronyms, so if you don't know, it won't make any sense. DNF means did not finish. In the book community, there's sort of two schools of thought on books you don't like. Do you DNF them, do not finish them, or do you power through? Guys, I have no shame in this. I never power through. If I don't like a book, I'm done with it. It's gone. There are limited hours in the day and limited hours in my life. If I don't like a book, I'm not gonna finish it. Wow, the sun just came out and the light changed so much in here. This is crazy. So when it comes to big, gigantic books, I often feel like I'm wasting my dang time reading them because if I don't like it, was it worth spending days, months, years of my life reading it? No. But that doesn't change the fact that I still have these massive chonky books on my TBR. And while compiling this list of books, I realized that they're so freaking heavy, I could probably kill a man with them. And that was gonna be the title of the video, books on my TBR I could kill a man with. But I felt like the YouTube monetization squad wasn't really gonna be a fan of that title. So instead we're just gonna do general crimes with these books. Not murder, rob a bank, arson, Grand Theft Auto. The fun ones. Anyways, I'm not condoning crime. I'm just here to talk about books. And so, without further ado, I'm gonna show you the absolute chonkiest chonkers of books that I have on my physical TBR. So these are books that take up way too much dang space on my shelves that I have not read, and I probably won't. Although I've discovered that some of these are deceptively not long. It's a lie. Now there used to be a very long book on my TBR called Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff, but I finally did actually tackle this book for a buddy read and it opened my eyes to the fact that I can read long books. I will not physically pass away if I try to read a long book. They're doable, they're achievable. Empire of the Vampire is 734 pages and I did do the audiobook at almost 2 times speed. But that's what works for me, okay? If you come into my comments and tell me that audiobooks are not really reading and that I haven't actually read Empire of the Vampire, I'm gonna come to your house and commit one of my so-called crimes with this book. Anyways, I now have the confidence to maybe tackle some more of these big books on my TBR. So let's take a look at the options. The first book here is one that I've seen a number of people struggle with, and it is the first binding by R.R. Verdi. Coming in at 817 pages with 97 chapters, this book is apparently just Name of the Wind, but again. Notoriously not a huge fan of Name of the Wind, so why I got this, I don't know. Hype, it's pretty, it's cool. This is the story of Ari, who let loose the first evil, and he's essentially telling his story to the reader. This is the first book in a new fantasy trilogy. I don't know if it's a trilogy, I made that up. Series by R.R. Verdi, who is actually hilarious on Twitter, X, whatever. So I like the author as a person, I just don't know if I'm ever gonna get to this book. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke comes in at 782 pages with 69 chapters and a heck ton of footnotes, which takes up a lot of page space. Opposite of what I said before about deceptively large font, oh, I'm dropping the book. This one actually has very tiny font, which means the book's longer than it appears. That was full of cat hair and dust, proving that I have never opened it before and I'm not going to read it. This is a urban fantasy about magicians. I don't like urban fantasy. That essentially means it's set on Earth in the real world, but with fantasy elements to it. I'm not a fan. I bought this at a thrift store for a couple dollars, which is why it sits on my shelf now. This is a hugely popular book though, so, you know, I might change my mind one day if if only to like fit in. If you've read it, let me know in the comments below and let me know if it's worth reading or if it's just urban fantasy, because I don't like it. The next entry is a double entry because it's Priory of the Orange Tree and A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. This is the specific book I was referring to when I was talking about the large font. The font is big and the margins are big, so this is not actually that long. It's a lie. And Bloomsbury can kiss my ass. Of these big boy books, Priory is probably the most likely one to be read by me because people love it, and I would be happy to do the audiobook of it, I think. And as far as I'm aware, it can be read as a standalone, which is another thing that I like. Day of Fallen Night, it's actually so heavy, is a prequel. So like, whatever, we don't need that. I can just read this. Wow, it has a timeline in the back. Oh gosh, and okay, a bunch of these pages are like an index, and by index I mean glossary. Okay, so this is 804 pages. Only 76 chapters actually. The last chapter is called West. Another oldie, but possibly a goodie, I won't know because I'm not gonna read it, is Anathem by Neil Stephenson. She is absolutely massive. 935 pages. However, I can see that a lot of the back end of this book is filled with sort of like diagrams and math equations and things like that. Not filled, it doesn't actually take up that much space, but there are drawings. Oh, this has that old used book smell. Musty. I'm not entirely sure what the actual plot of this book is. I'm just aware that it's sort of a take on religion and science as a combined thing. So the main character is an devout living in a sanctuary for mathematicians and scientists, as you can see by the guy on the front. Actually sounds really interesting and is something I'll probably read eventually just because I think it's a really cool concept. But I'm very intimidated. It's almost 1,000 pages and really heavy. My wrist hurts. The book on this list with my favorite cover overall is Night Angel Nemesis by Brent Weeks. The Night Angel trilogy is one of Brent Weeks' sort of masterpiece works. It's very popular, and then this is a return to that world, so it's not part of the original series. It's its own new thing, and the first book is huge. 832 pages. And how many chapters, Brent? 106 chapters. That's the most chapters so far. I haven't read the Night Angel trilogy and I don't own it, but I bought this because it's really pretty. And I do want to get into Brent Weeks eventually. I just haven't yet. Guys, what if I die like next week? I'm gonna have so many unfinished books. The Green Rider series is not super popular today, but there are some people that are utterly obsessed with it. And I, for some reason, only own Winterlight. I think I bought it because I really like the cover, as you do. But it is a series that I do want to tackle at some point. It's several books, this many, I'll look it up later. And while this is sitting at 836 pages, Kristen Britton hilariously just released this book, and it's a little baby book. Now, I do have enormous man hands, but still, this book compared to the size of my hand should give you an idea of how little cute little guy it is. So it's not just this book on the TBR, it's the whole series. Which is crazy. And speaking of series, I have a number of long, thick series books that I want to get to as well. Primarily, and actually very likely, is the Licanius trilogy by James Islington. I am doing this out of order because I just read The Will of the Many by James Islington, which is my top book of the year so far, and it makes me want to go back and read the stuff that I skipped via intimidation. Not via, because of, whatever. The first book's not so bad, but the second and third are quite large. Look, they're bigger than my face. Not that that means literally anything. I know I can at least do book one because it's not even 700 pages. It's only 693. Easy, baby, small little boy. And then finally, I mean not finally because there's so many other big series that I want to read, but the final one for the video is the 5 Angel Warriors series by Brian Lee Durfee. I'm dropping them. This is another not so popular series just because I think it's been missed. I've heard incredible things about this series. I've literally heard nothing bad. Plus Brian Lee Durfee is really interactive on social media and a very nice person, so I want to get into this. The first 2 books are large, but luckily the third one kind of small, so maybe I'll finish this series. Why am I lying? Who am I lying for? The first book, The Forgetting Moon, is Don't read it, don't read it, don't spoil things for me. 763 pages. I have some honorable mentions as well because they're either I just didn't feel like pulling them off the shelf or I don't own them. But the Stormlight archive is notoriously ridiculously big. He himself has said that like each book in the Stormlight archive is actually 3 books that he wrote as one just to get them published by Tor. I'm almost on the Way of Kings though. Yay. There's also The Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne. I've read about half of Malice twice. I haven't finished it. I don't know why, because I really like it, but I'm just struggling. That one's not that long, but I'm looking at the series right now. I'm looking at you over there, and Ruin, the 3rd book. And lastly, I do own 1 book by Ryan Cahill. I own 2. I own The Fall, but that doesn't count. This one is 521 pages, but if you know anything about Ryan Cahill or you follow him on Instagram, you know that he is known for writing stupid long books, Ryan. But I did meet him last year and he's a really lovely person and I want to read his books eventually, but holy moly, those are big books. He's working on a book right now and he posted on Instagram just before I filmed this that he hit 50K, so 50,000 words, and he's like 20% done the book or something ridiculous like that. So, but people love him and love that series and his books, so I'll get there eventually. I just can't do it yet. But I'm buying them. I'm being supportive. Those are the biggest books on my TBR that I'm aware of. I might have missed a couple. I don't know where to start. I think Priory, as I mentioned, will be the first one I actually get to. Although I'm really intrigued by the Green Rider series, as well as Lycanius. I'm just gonna start listing all the books. And 5 Angel Warriors, so it's tricky. If you've read any of the books I talked about today, please comment down below and let me know where to start, if it's worth the time and effort. Do note that I'll probably be doing the audiobook if it's available because I just don't have time to read them with my eyes. My ears work a lot faster than my eyeballs do, okay? I know that's not the actual science of how that works, but shut up. When it's all said and done, I promise I won't be committing actual crimes with these books. I would never beat someone to death with a book. That's not okay. And it would ruin the book. Thank you for watching. Before I go, don't forget to like and subscribe and read the bell icon. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring the bell icon so you know when I upload new videos. I upload 2 days a week. I love you guys. Goodbye.